All right. So in this SOP, I will show you how TikTok on search arbitrage work, or search arbitrage on TikTok works. It's a very simple process, but it also needs to take like a lot of repetition to do it. So without further ado, let's dive into it. All right. First of all, we have got the domain active or crossroads front. Basically, this is your search arbitrage backlog, where we can see all the revenue. The revenue usually takes about 24 hours after it's finalized. You can see here that it's still not finalized. The 13th is, right, and the 12th, etc., but the 14th is not. So what that means is that you're usually are working with a little bit of a back data, so you really don't know what today is going to look like, and that makes arbitrage tricky and difficult, apart from numerous other things. But I'm going to show you real quick on how I used to do it and how you can apply it as well. It's very easy and very simple. First off, before we start, it's important to know that December is, at the time of this recording, December 2023, it was not a good month. So you can see that the visits have gone down quite heavily. That is because we paused like most of the campaigns because it was not looking good. So we have to sort of like readjust, rescheme. So this might actually be a good screen recording to just see and look at. All right, so let's dive into it. First off, I'm going to look at the 14th, since that was the most recent one. Let's actually go back a little bit. Normally I don't do this, but this caught my eye immediately. Is usually when I see something like this, right, I straight away look at the revenue. Oh. 1 second, let me put the date. Yep. I look at the revenue. And what immediately caught my eye was that this one here, right, is almost doubled, even though I know from in the back of my head that we passed like a lot of campaigns. So I know immediately that the RPC, the revenue per click, has increased, and it's increased quite a lot, right, by 40 cents. But the thing is, you don't know this beforehand. So I didn't know that the RPC was going to be an average of all the campaigns, of all the verticals, of $1.07. That's like a big difference already. So clicking on this, obviously I'm like curious about it, and we see immediately, right, that these two, the home remodels, this is also a home remodel. You can see it in categories. It's got like an RPC of 1.7, and it's across the different platforms, right? So one's for Facebook, one for TikTok. This is very important to see, to notice, because I actually paused the home remodel campaign on TikTok. So we're first off gonna like reset that, and then we're gonna see what comes out of this. Everything else was a loss because I paused these ones, and we currently only have like the Facebook one live. So without further ado, let's go into it. Yes, let me just show you from the beginning. Right, usually we've got the TikTok Business Center. Actually, you know it already. The accounts that we use for arbitrage or search account 2, all the way up till 6. You can obviously make some new accounts. Search account 3 is banned forever, which is very unfortunate. So we have to make do with the things that we have. A little bit of history. Search account 2, I rarely upload new campaigns or test new verticals because this particular account is more stricter, is being more stricter reviewed. That's because the ads that we used to run in the past are a bit aggressive. So I only got like 1 or 2 campaigns live, and these are now like paused, but these are the product tests and the cell phone Spanish angle, and they have been up until December, right? They've always been profitable. They will always like make money. So and obviously I want to let them make money, so we just have to see what the CPA is looking like over the last couple of days. The CPA, as you can see, it was like 52 cents, which is not ideal because if we would go sell, let's see which one it was again. Let me just pick a larger time frame. So let's say the last 14 days. Perfect, this one is, and you can see it here already, right? The RPC was 43 cents. And this it has been like this for like a while now. This is normal. If I would just show you, I can show you like a year to date. Even graph-wise. Let me just get rid of the visitors. The only thing that is interesting for us is the RPC at the moment, just to show you how it looks like. And so you can see how high it was, right? It was almost around like $1 RPC. That's like a ridiculous amount of, that's high. These things that where you see it's low, it's because the account got either blocked or you run out of funds. That happened in the beginning. But you see it's like very high. You can only imagine, right? If the CPA was like 52, right, we would make 100% ROI. No. This was how it was on a regular basis, right? Like very much like 50, 60. So this is all right. Obviously, this one here, it dropped on the 8th. So we had about like 2 months where it was like, or almost like 1.5 months if we count it from the beginning. So let's say from April, we had about like 3 months where it was like very stable, and here it dropped all of a sudden. And it hasn't like really recovered. Still though, we were still making money even up until late November. And November and October were like very tricky months. So with that being said, unfortunately I had to pause it because one of the key factors here is the CPA. And in order for us to run like profitable campaigns, we need our CPAs to be lower than your RPCs. That's like search arbitrage 101. As I said before, we don't know what the RPC is going to be at today. They will give you like an estimate on domain active, what it's like, but there's like such a big time difference and such a big difference between finalized and what you're actually seeing on today that I never look at them. I only look at the day before, and I look at the average of the last 7 days. That's really all I care about, to be honest. And then it's my job, and it will be your job as well, to make your CPA as lower than your RPC. That's it. Lower than the average RPC, I should say. That's the most important thing. And obviously there are like a couple of things, right, that comes with it, your CPC, CTR, all these kind of things, but it all depends on the ad. But in general, you want to have as low as possible CPA. If we take last month, right, here you go. You see it, right? 36, 35, 33, an average of 34, right? So we were like making money. It was not like a lot, but we're still making money. However, if we look in this month, remember, right, average 34, you see that most, with the exception of this, was around 30. Doubled. And we kept it spending a little bit, or I kept it spending a little bit, because at the end and beginning of the month, with arbitrage, things are a little bit more volatile. So RPCs tend to change more, CTR tends to be lower or higher. You sort of have to go through with that. But as the month goes on, as the days go on, right, and it still doesn't change, then you have to make like decisions, and then you just have to pass them. You see, yeah, these are just the decisions. However, you can turn it back on again and just see if they are like working. for instance, you can see that the campaigns here are pretty old, right? This is from May, this is from June. However, they're still making money, because the cool thing is that the ads themselves, they are like pretty strong and pretty stable on TikTok. The thing is, we are like very dependent on a couple of things. First, the buying side needs to be interested in it. So that means that the TikTok audience needs to be interested in it. Like if they're interested in it and people are liking it, TikTok will show it to more, will give us like a broader audience of the same type of thing. The second thing is the buying side on Google needs to be plenty of, because what arbitrage is we buy traffic from TikTok and we sell it to Google. So we're sort of like the middleman. Now, if there are like more than enough players or people that are buying from it from Google, buying traffic from Google, then the RPC tend to be like stable, and like it's easy waters. However, if that is not the case, what then tends to happen is there are only like so many traffic that we can send to Google, and once the gap of the traffic, in this case of cell phones, is filled, what then tends to happen is the RPC goes lower. And these are things that are all out of our control, right? The only way that we can know this is by letting it spend a little bit, making these assumptions of ourselves, because at the end they are assumptions. Domain Active doesn't know it. TikTok definitely doesn't know it. So it's only up to us, but it's just piecing these things together and then coming to like a logical conclusion that that is the case. So yeah, in this case, we pause it, and this can be restarted on a later point. Actually, I wanted to try it today. So what I'd like to do then is, since it's sort of like a test, I think we started in March. I just go by lifetime. Here I take the last 7 days. We see that the average is 38 cents. It's not a lot. But then again, the traffic also wasn't a lot. And then we check it out, what the CPA is looking like, and it's not looking very good, if I'm being honest, right? It's got like 42 here. It's not very strong. However, I know that we can spend some money on this. So I'm just going to test it out and see what's going to happen there. So I'm going to test out this one, and I'm going to tell you why I'm going to test out this one. It's basically because this together with this is like the lowest CPA, but then you're going to wonder, why do you not turn on this one? Yes, the conversion rate is higher. However, CTR is almost the same, and the CPC is a little bit lower, right? 2 cents lower. So it does make a difference. So let's just turn it on. Boom. All right. And the rest we're going to keep it, because I don't want to test too much at the same time now. Okay, moving on to the next one. Search account 4. I think in search account 4 we've got the video game testing. But we currently, yes, currently everything is off, and we keep it this way. So this video game testing one that worked for a while, but now it doesn't. There aren't like a lot of campaigns here that are actually working, so you sort of have to just let it be for the time being. Search account 5, that's like interesting one. There is the homebrew model one. So just go. And go a little bit all over the place, so just bear with me. If you've got like a lot of campaigns or a lot of verticals live, everything is with the naming convention, TikTok or Facebook. So Normally I just put in TikTok here, and then it filters all the TikTok campaigns. We know that home remodel was the one that was working. You can see it's like quite volatile, right? I pause it and I restart it again. For some reason, it looked pretty good right now. Yeah, it's like such a tricky one, this. What we can see here. Oh, this one is currently live. That's beautiful. Oh yeah, I remember I kept this one on. All right. So let's see what yesterday's performance was like. Boom. Right, we're making money here. Actually, we're making almost double. This is good. Let's quickly check. So I saw this already at the beginning. I saw this one was doing very well. So I immediately paused all of these and just kept this one on. And this one is doing quite well. And we're gonna like push it a little bit. And bumping it up to 100. And then I'm just gonna make a note for myself to check HR at 4 p.m. I usually let everything spend because everything is, by the way, in a Pacific time zone. Right, so right now it's like 2 a.m. So you do your optimization in the morning, real quick. Then you just let it spend, right? The real data comes in at around like 4 p.m. That's about like 6 or 7 a.m. for that time, and then I check it every 3 hours or so. So latest check is usually at around like 10 p.m. I try to play everything by safe, right? So if it's not looking good, then I just pause it, or I cap it, and yeah, that's basically it. So now that we bumped this one up, we're just gonna leave it. No need to rush everything. Then let's see what's over here. Oh yeah. So the roofing campaign, I'm actually going to start it today, and I'm going to quickly show you why that is. That we need to go back. I know I'm going a little bit all over the place, but this is just part of the optimization. So you're just going to have to bear with it. The window replacement was also a good one. And the roofing source as well. These two are very important. So let me put it in here. Let's see. Yeah. All right. So let me change it from the 15th to the 30th. Okay. And let me change the, so that we can only have the and actually let's have it like a little bit longer. So here, let's do just like the month. One second. I'm trying to show you. It's just I want you to understand why I want to turn on roofing and window replacement. And all has to do with, let's first scrap roofing or window replacement. Nice. All right, and it all has to do with TikTok. As you can see, right, I tested like multiple things, but most of them, they were like pretty shitty. This is an important factor, right? You see that the CPC are like 17. Here they're almost like twice, right? This one's almost twice. It's like insane. Also, the CPA is not good, right? CPA is always like almost the most important factor. Obviously, you want to have like the lowest CPC with the highest CTR. And CTR of almost 5% is like pretty high. But if your CPC is high, if your CTR is low, but your CPA is way on point, right? Like you're making money, then it doesn't really much matter. However, in this case, it's very interesting because this window replacement, it worked in the beginning of the month. It doesn't work around the 15th until the 25th, 26th. It does work. So we got like a very limited time where it's working. And I don't know the reason why that is. Could be advertisers that that are like more interested in it, that want to have like final leads. I don't know. Regardless, it's worth testing out because this was the same case on the in November. Right, so we were starting out. Let me filter it by CPA. Oh, by the way, I clicked on view data, and then you get this overall thing. So you see the CPA was like 1.3. This was like really high, because if we go back here, right, RPC of like 1, and we have to remember this in euros, right? The RPC here is in dollars, so it's even less. So we're pretty much making a loss here. Making a loss, 86 at the fourth, 87. So we're around like break even, making still a loss. No. Then 1.87, right? This was like ridiculous, and that's why I paused it. Kept pausing it. Oh, I even turned on the 11th. Right, I turned it on. I kept it at sort of like low spend because others were working, so it was like looking better. But here's like an interesting one. Here we see the CPA going down. One second. Right here on the 15th, you see that? CPA of 88 cents. Before that, the lowest was like 98. Here it was at 88 cents. And here it got even lower, 56 cents. And it was stable like this for, yeah, exactly, like almost 10 days. Then it went up again. And so I assume this is might be like a trend, but it's worth exploring. So I'm gonna like push it, turn on. But I kept a reminder of myself for this in the back of my mind, and also just on Todoist. And I believe it was the same case for roofing. So the RPCs, as you can see, were like pretty much the same, but it's more about the CPAs here. Where did you spend the most? You spent the most here. CPA. See here, look at this, CPA of 2.25. That's insanely high. I passed it here, obviously. Then it was even worse. Then it got a little bit better, so I kept it on. But here it got like completely shit, and then I passed it for the time being. And then you see, like on the 15th, I noticed it on window replacement that it was doing well. And then I had this hunch, this feeling that it would also, because these are sort of like the same type of ad style. So I figured like if they're doing well, then it might just be, if they're doing well right now for window replacement, might be doing well for roofing. So that's what I did. And yeah, even though I hear the CPA was like insane and it kept like that way, and then it got up again. And then around the same time, remember that on this thing is freaking annoying. Okay, on the 25th already went up. On the 26th, it doubled. And the 27th, yeah, it was just shit again. So I passed it. So that being said, let's test it out. I'm going to do some more sessions because right now I just showed you a little bit on how to optimize, or like my thought process behind it. It's also like a little bit of a difficult month, so it's not your average day-to-day kind of thing. Still though, it's good for me to show you this and see what comes out of it. Oh, actually, before I forget, let's also do it for plumbing as well. By the way, I put like a budget on 100 because I want to get like data fast, right? But when you do something like this, you also need to make sure that you're on point with this. There can't be like any mistakes. All right. Yeah, you see it here as well in terms of visitors, right? Like here, I turned on the budget, made money, and here it was shit again. I turned it down. And I think when we look at things, this one was the one that made money the most. View data. Here it was too high, right? You can see it here. Let me put the CPA on. Just 1 second. Quickly need to measure something. All right. Yeah, here the CPA was still all right, but there it got like messed up, and I just left it. I kept this one on as well the entire time. I think here on the 15th, you see there's like a big drop all of a sudden. That's today as well. Today's the 15th as well. So I mean, want to test it, and here we're making some bank. So yeah, we're gonna test this one out here as well. Think we left everything on. Yep. All right. Usually I just leave one on, but I'll go into that later. Thanks very much for watching. Yeah, I hear from you if you have like any sort of question. And yeah, thanks.